Now, here are Jordan Moore and Max Brown.
Hello and welcome to Trojans Live on AM 790 KBC, live here on Twitter at USC_athletics. I am Jordan Moore, and properly distanced away is my co-host for this show, former USC quarterback Max Brown. Max, how are you?
I'm good. We got our social distancing on point right now.
Yeah, I appreciate you joining us. We got a small crew here just trying to provide everyone with some updates tonight and check in with several of USC's leaders, the athletic director Mike Bohn, head coach Clay Helton, men's basketball head coach Andy Enfield, and strength and conditioning coach Aaron Osmus. Plus, we will hear from one of the spring sports student athletes, Joy Dennis, who had her senior season canceled. All of our guests tonight are on the phone, starting with the athletic director, Mike Bohn. And Mike, you there with us?
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, we appreciate your time as well, sir. Crazy to think how much the world has changed in just over a week. Can you provide us just sort of with the latest updates from your world?
Well, first of all, it is just an unprecedented time for all of us, and I'm not sure in my 35 years of athletic administration I've ever felt the true emotion and heartache for student athletes and coaches and having to share with them that their seasons were over and what that meant. I mean, we had a team that was on a bus driving to play lacrosse match in Arizona. We had obviously our basketball team getting ready to participate in March Madness, our women's basketball team having the ability to play in the postseason for the first time in 6 years, and our tennis team, our women's golf team competing for national championships along with women's water polo. We just had incredible momentum, and just knowing how hard those coaches and athletes and so many staff members have so many great things that they've done to put them in a great position. It truly is heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking for sure, and I know those decisions were very tough, but since those decisions to cancel the seasons, what have your days looked like? I mean, you're an athletic director that's used to going to events, going to talking to alumni, all that. There's no more of that the past couple of weeks, so what have you been doing on the day-to-day?
Well, what we do is every day we start off with a call with all the athletic directors from the Pac-12 conference and Commissioner Scott and his staff, and we talk about updates from the NCAA. We talk about updates from the Autonomy 5 conferences. We talk about different ideas on how to address the challenges from obviously the network to eligibility to recruiting to practice time. And it sounds easy, but all of those complexities are exactly that, complex issues that have far-reaching implications associated with the daily lives of our student athletes, and that's what makes it so difficult. Then we follow that up with calls with our senior leadership team in the athletic department. I just got off the phone with the Trojan Athletes Senate tonight and trying to get a sense from those athletes and those captains on how they're feeling, and then obviously trying to keep up with the wonderful work that our entire campus is working on. And as a member of the leadership team with the president and all those executives on campus trying to figure out, all right, what's going on with food and housing and training and all the different aspects associated with services for our student athletes that need to continue to carry on. I mean, we have some athletes that have been through off-season surgeries, and how are we rehabbing them, and what are we doing to help ensure that our academics and our student athletes are able to stay on track with all of our classes being online and the technology associated with that. And our student athlete support services group has been phenomenal in helping our student athletes, but obviously all those elements are a challenge, but our head coaches and our staff have really responded in a big way, and I'm inspired by that. And I could tell the student athletes today that were on the task call, they really understand our commitment to their success.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, spring break, for whatever it was, is over, and the students are back in school in terms of taking classes online, nobody taking them in classrooms. You have all these students under your purview, student-athletes. What's that been like? How is that process going to work for everybody for appears to be the remainder of the school year?
Well, obviously, it's a huge challenge, but again, our SAS team did a great job trying to make sure everybody is able to get the materials online and being able to see the lectures and seeing all the different pieces of that and understanding the challenges associated with communicating back and forth with professors, picking up the different learning rhythm, if you will. And we've only had one day of it, so I'm hopeful that we can continue to make progress there. So our athletes know, and every student at USC knows, that the faculty is committed to ensuring that they can pick up all those key elements associated with progress towards their degrees.
It feels like the optimistic angle on the whole coronavirus deal is that it's a couple-month deal and then it's going to pass. But on your end, with your staff, are you guys actively preparing for the event that it does creep into the next competition year, in the event that we're talking here in August and we're talking fall camp and it's still a factor then? Are there decisions being made right now on your end for that factor?
Yes and no. The league call every day that I mentioned, we talk about some of those scenarios, but right now the focus is on trying to figure out, all right, when's the next look-in date associated with opportunities to reveal that. We anticipate at the end of the month having further direction from the NCAA on eligibility and potential opportunities to work on practice elements and so forth, but it's just unclear at this point. And again, it's very, very complex. So at the same time, we also look, all right, well, how much time do we have associated with maybe some clearance to begin to do some planning? But we do not have any indication that would allow us to do that with any type of confidence at this point.
You're listening to the USC Athletic Director Mike Bohn on a special Trojans Live here on a Monday night, and we appreciate you joining us, Mike. And you mentioned seniors eligibility. It's not just for seniors, but obviously everyone's been talking about the seniors because for the spring sports seniors, their last go-around certainly did not go as they imagined. We'll be talking to Joy Dennis from beach volleyball later on in the show. Do we know what the latest is? It seemed like the NCAA came out pretty strong early on. Do we know what the latest is in terms of spring sports athletes being able to get that eligibility back?
We do not, and that's one of the critical pieces we're waiting on from the NCAA by the end of the month, is some direction associated with how that is affected or implemented for affected student athletes. And again, I think that there is numerous different thoughts and ideas that are circulating on how to address that, and it'll be a busy week for us as we try and gain some momentum to help those athletes.
And then a big picture question again, maybe nothing that we're 1 week in. I know it feels like we've been doing this for months now. Time is moving slowly, but we talk about the financial challenges facing the country, financial challenges I'm sure that you're forecasting facing your athletic department. What are those conversations like as the future is so uncertain for the athletic department and the university at large?
Well, there's two elements of that. Obviously, the distribution from the NCAA and then each institution's revenue generating opportunities. And we've been so fortunate to have many of our donors and fans say, how can we help? What can we do to help these student athletes, which is certainly comforting. And then trying to deal with an anticipated 70% reduction from the NCAA distribution this year. Those are major hurdles for us. And I know that, the NCAA is working on insurance elements, working on lines of credit, working on all kinds of solutions to help us deal with that at the campus level. And again, those are in play and still really undefined again at this point.
All right, Mike, so many of our questions are not going to be of the fun variety tonight, so I want to get every guest out on a fun one. We're spending a lot of time at home. Give us a Netflix, a streaming show, a movie recommendation. What can we do to kill some time?
Well, I was watching the Netflix deal. I only got through about 3 episodes of the Arizona high school team that plays and their new coach. And adjusting to their style, and I enjoyed watching that, just watching young people compete and watching a coach try and compete for a state championship. So I've enjoyed watching that.
I like that. We're looking for competition anywhere we can find it right now without sports. So much of us, of our lives dictated by sports, but right now it's about family, it's about safety, and about our community. Thank you so much, Mike Bohn. And speaking of all that, USC's health and wellness partners would like to remind Trojans to follow standard hygiene practices to prevent illness, such as hand washing, avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth, and consider opting for verbal salutations instead of hugs or handshakes. Practice social distancing of at least 6 feet, and use your inner elbow when coughing. For more information, go online at cdc.gov. This message brought to you by Keck Medicine of USC, Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, United Healthcare, and USC Pharmacy. Back with more Trojans Live. The head coach of USC football, Clay Helton, is next.